Urgent Bitcoin update. We have to take a look at this. It looks like the chickens are coming home to roost. Wow, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another exciting episode today, Sunday, November 24th. We have a lot to look at. Some crazy things happening in the market. We have a candle on the screen as I'm recording that is just fluctuating like this on the daily. It's pretty nuts, so we're going to take a look at this price action. Another thing I'm expecting, just because of how significantly we've dropped, guys, wow, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, basically 8 red daily candles here. Wow, this is, and a few $100s on each daily candle. It's absolutely very strong. So I am expecting a bounce at some point. However, you look back on this chart recently, you don't see this many consecutive pretty decently sized red candles very much at all. So again, I am still expecting a very strong bounce sometime soon, but really the focus of this video is going to be more on the slightly long-term trend, maybe like a month trend, because although I am expecting a bounce, what is the trajectory after that bounce? Are we going to continue to bounce and then put in some higher lows? Or is this trend only just beginning and are things about to get really dirty? That's really what we need to talk about in this video. So guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure if you want to be a part of so many great things in the future and join our community in making the world a better place, hit that like, subscribe, and comment below. Together, we can get through anything. Hashtag together we're unstoppable. And that's all you need to do. Guys, let's get into this one. So wow, as I'm recording this video, and keep in mind, by the time this gets out, who knows what's going to happen. But right now, we're right at about 7,000 US dollars. At the time of making this video, we're right outside of this golden pocket here between the 618 and the 6.65. Okay, right here, which is kind of like the key area I've been talking about. I've been here almost 3 days, so pretty significant so far. But there are some other levels we need to talk about. But really, I want to kind of paint this little picture for you guys before we really get into the detailed analysis of like the long term with this. So I want to zoom out for a second, and then we can kind of resume where I just started. Long term, what is the trajectory here? What is going on? Are we going to continue this, over 6 month trend now of just descending, of just falling? Because we've been falling for 6 months, guys. Keep that in mind. We have been falling for 6 months. After we topped out in June, we have been falling. Okay, wow, it's been crazy. I can't believe it's already been 6 months, but it has been 6 months almost since June. It's been about almost half a year since then, and we've just been falling the entire time. Okay, we had only a 2-month pump from April to the end of June. Okay, so about 2.5, almost 3 months of a pump, and it's already been double that amount of time that we've just been falling. So at some point, this trend has to end, but when will it end, and what are some reasons that it would end? Okay, so something I've talked about recently is the fact that this channel that we've been in, which is a very clear channel, guys. This is, I mean, to me, this is the most clear channel you could possibly pick. Look at this. Look at this, okay? June to, this is over an entire month, just hugging the bottom of this, okay? Then hugging the top as well for about 2 months, okay? Hugging the top here. And then here, hugging the bottom again for a month, okay, guys? And then hugging the top again for about a month. This is absolutely so clear to me, guys. This trend is by far the most clear in Bitcoin's pattern right now. Look at this. A month, 1 month, 2 months, another month, and another month. We have literally been on one edge of this trend for the past 6 months. We've spent very little time in the middle here. Very little time in the middle. It has been corner to corner. Okay, so to me, I just want to point that out first before we really delve into it, because to me that pattern is as clear as day. And now what we're approaching now is the bottom of this channel yet again. Now, here's the question. Do we spend another month here at the bottom? Do we get a bounce? Okay, because one thing you notice here is that we spent quite a bit of time here before we did get a very significant bounce. Granted, we first originally touched here and then went back into the middle for a little bit. You can consider this a decent bounce, actually. But then when we touched here again, we got a massive bounce. So if that trend were to continue, if we were to maybe do a more consolidated version of this and trade more in here a little bit, touch here again, maybe a more even significant bounce would be coming out of that, right? But now that doesn't answer my question of what is the long term? Like what is going on here? Like what is the end goal of all of this? Are we going to be in another downtrend for 6 months? Are we not even close to the bottom? Or is this the actual bottom, and sentiment is so low and everything, but tides are about to turn and people are about to get ecstatic again. And it's kind of what we're going to try to answer and talk about in this video. So clearly, the bottom of this trend, we haven't, this is why it's so crucial, why I'm so excited as I'm making it now, because it's kind of right in the middle of it and we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but it's happening in front of our eyes here. What we can see is we haven't broken out of this pocket actually definitively yet. So that's one key thing. So we can't make a judgment call and say 100% we're going down to the bottom of this channel, just what it seems like, even though one reason, so I'm going to do a case for why we might and why we might not. The first reason why we might is because it's just what we've done. Okay, that's the simplest way. But the reason why it might not is because we have spent so much time in a very short amount of time going straight down. Now that's not something we've seen very recently, okay? So the last time we did was actually just before we went to the bottom of this channel. You see it was very quick. You saw that massive candle, 97 to 77 in one day. Granted, it wicked back up to like 85, so it bounced like $800 in that daily candle, but still, that was huge. Okay, look at this candle. The biggest daily candle we've had in this entire downtrend, right there. Okay, and that was from basically the top of the channel there to the bottom of this potential bull flag. Again, which could still be ultimately bullish, but are we far enough into the bull flag where it will turn bullish soon? We could still see some more bearish downside, so that's what we need to look at here, guys. Now, another thing here is that clearly this was a descending triangle within this bull flag, and kind of a descending triangle within a descending triangle. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but when it broke out of that, that's why this pattern was so strong, I believe. That's why this candle was so huge, in my opinion there. Now here, we don't have that. We don't have any triangle, okay? And there's no real definitive pattern, in my opinion, here. So I'll kind of illustrate this. So this could have been seen as a pattern, and actually if this was considered a descending triangle, it did break out, okay? It did break down. But look, let's just kind of highlight where the lows are here, okay? So look at these lows. Look at the pattern that I'm drawing here. Let me redraw that. Look at the pattern that I'm drawing here. Does that look like any sort of symmetrical or like geometric? It really doesn't look like anything, right? Look at this. It's not really a channel. It's not really, I mean, this is not very geometric or symmetric at all. This just looks like completely negative price action, just down, down, down. That's one of the reasons why I'm more expecting a somewhat of a reaction bounce soon. But guys, keep in mind, just because we might have a reaction bounce, you have to keep in mind what that means is not, oh, we're bounced, we're just going to keep going up and up. Of course, that's not what it means at all. It just means that in the short term, we could have a huge price spike. And again, does that mean that a week after that, the price isn't even lower than it was before the bounce? No, that could very likely be the case. So keep that in mind. That's one thing to keep in mind. But it's just crazy. Like, look at this pattern here. It's almost you don't know what to make of it, because we go from the top of this bull flag. And that's another reason why, again, that's why I'm going to get into this. That's another reason why I think a bounce is more likely, because we go from the top of this bull flag within about 2 weeks, actually exactly 2 weeks as of today, and this actually hit the bottom of this before even 2 weeks. So it was about 12 days from the top of this bull flag to the bottom of it within 12 days. That's huge price movement. That's 9,000 to 6,700. That's over $2,000 of price action in less than 2 weeks. That's insanely significant there. And it continues to go down here. And another thing I want to point out, guys, look at the volume here, the sell volume we saw last time it did that there. That was pretty significant there. It's not as drastic here. It doesn't look as drastic on these daily volume candles because it's been happening kind of incrementally. Instead of one giant flash crash here, it's just been going down and down and down. Every day it's been kind of like squashed a little bit more and more instead of a big slap down, guys. So that's one thing to keep in note there. So basically, to sum this up, because we kind of want to get to the point of the video and kind of answer the question that I've been posing since the beginning of the video, okay, is now we have to zoom out for this because the whole point of it is kind of bigger picture here. So where is this ultimately leading? Where is this ultimately leading? So if this is a massive bull flag here, if this is, and we're going to get a breakup at some point, that's one scenario. But then what is the other scenario? What is the other scenario possibly? That we continue to go down? Because guys, if we continue to go down, and as I've been saying, and as many people have been said, I watch a lot of people, I read a lot of stuff on the internet. Many people did not necessarily expect to see what we're seeing now. And again, this could all be invalidated soon. And what I mean by that is that, all the fear and all the price actions happening now could just end up being kind of a fake out. We could still bounce up from here, and this could be like absolutely the bottom in the short term. So this could not even get worse. But let's assume that it does get worse, because that's also possible. If it does get worse, many people were just not really expecting that. And if it does get worse, what does that mean? Well, for one thing, that means that the 6,000, 7,000 bottom many people have been calling for is completely invalid. And where does that put us for the next bottom? Guys, that's where things get really tricky there. And again, I really necessarily think, besides the huge 6K level, and 6K is a huge support level for many reasons. I'll draw it back. I mean, basically because of all of 2018 being the bottom of the descending triangle. 6,000. Besides that being the next logical one, in confluence with the bottom of this bear flag. Keep that in mind, guys, because that's where it would end up being. Right around the 6 that is in the bull flag territory down here. Besides that, again, the next one would be the 0.5, or the 0.78, which will also be around the 56. Besides those levels, guys, if those don't hold, man, everything flies out the window and sentiment completely changes, and everyone's going to have to change their analysis because not many people are calling for this. Maybe the legendary Tone Vase is right, and we are going to go down to, what did he say, maybe $1,000, $2,000 Bitcoin? Wow. That would be insane. But guys, we have to keep in mind, I just want to make this video not as a fear video, but just more a realistic, take, because a lot of the videos I make talk about upside. But guys, I think it's necessary today to talk about this as well, because this is something we need to keep in mind. It's something definitely to pay attention to. Definitely want to look out for this, because what does it mean? I'd love to read some comments below of what you think. This stuff gets crazier and crazier every day. This price action is pretty nuts, and again, we're on the cusp of it. We could see this price have a resurgence today. We could see it have a resurgence this week. Sunday is usually a bloodier day, so I don't necessarily, and a lot of people discount weekend price movement as well. So maybe today we close where we are now, or lower, or slightly higher, and it might not even matter, and have a bounce up. I mean, this obviously is charted in the charts now, so I do think that it's clear that we could close below this golden pocket here, and this whole thing could get really dicey. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one.